Hey, here we are back with Onward Christian Soldiers. Because of the similarity between this and the old SPI game, and that this has a what-if scenario, I'm going to do the Barbarossa what-if. It was always the thing that I felt was missing from the old Crusades game was, look, just give me a little bit more information and we could play out the Barbarossa scenario, right? It's kind of interesting because it does some things. It puts Guy and Conrad in a more, the King of Jerusalem and, what was Conrad's Lord of Tyre or whatever, but they were the competing kings for the Kingdom of Jerusalem. The French threw their weight, I don't remember. I think the English threw their weight behind Guy. There's some weirdnesses going on here, which I don't feel are addressed in the game, and some real problems as well, where like counters are wrong. I don't know if the same problem exists in the Third Crusade's historical version. But there's some very interesting things. I feel that this one didn't get very well play tested. Among other things, for example, we have here, the game ends in mid-July 1192, or when the Franks take Jerusalem, whichever comes first. It'll last, therefore, for a total of XX possible turns and should take XXX hours to play. That's somewhat troubling. If we look here, they actually give the information for the historical. I get the feeling that they didn't have time to play test this, and it kind of shows. But it's okay. It may be that it's kind of unplayable because we'll see that in a moment. That has nothing to do with the actual errata or stuff that should be errata in this. Once again, we have counters using the old, the boxes from the First Crusade. The game is definitely designed for that First Crusade, and then like these others have just been added in. And again, there would be ways around this. Even just things that I could drop on here, you know, that they could be fairly light stock, would be very helpful. And obviously you can print your own. All the castles are in play. Some of the design of this is a little problematic. So for example, they tell you what territory the neutrals control before giving kind of an overall, everything else is basically Saracen controlled. Worse than that, that everything else is Saracen controlled. It didn't catch me because I looked carefully this time. The Saracens control everything. The Franks and Assassins do not. That is below blah, blah, blah. With no mention of the Armenians. Well, the line that they trace, actually, all the Armenians are to the side of it. So I guess it works. It's a little fucked up. In terms of the setup pieces, I can't find the Muslim reinforcement chit that they're able to put into the game, but both Richard, the Lionhearted, and Saladin have an extra chit that's actually like an extra chit that goes on the board, not one of their command chits. I could throw in an AM from some other battle or from some other scenario to use for it. It seems to just be missing, unless this is it. No. It's you know, it's kind of a shame because you want these to have that AM on the back. So something from Second Crusade could go in there. I'll probably put something more notable like the Saladin chit if I buy reinforcements as my action. Now, moreover, Taki only has one chit, and he has A2 a 2 rating, he should have a second chit. So there's a couple of chits missing, and in their place, there's a couple of extra chits, one for Richard and one for Saladin, which are completely inexplicable. And there's also other stuff that you really don't need in the game. For example, these are supposedly the Saracen markers. These are supposedly the Latin markers. I've found uses for them, but those aren't really factions that exist in this. And you could make an argument that the English and French kind of don't matter to have their own control markers at all, yet they do. They would be handing territory off to Jerusalem or whatever, probably. Although it's possible they might create another lord or whatever, but in terms of reconquering any of the territory from the Kingdom of Jerusalem, it would be going back to the Kingdom of Jerusalem. There was no intention of carving it up further, and making it weaker. Obviously, if you gained things outside of the boundaries of the Old Kingdom, those might not go to the minor lords that held claims to them. And if you got something like Damascus, who knows what would happen. Okay. I did have a number of issues with this. I don't really want to talk too much about it. Yeah, so here, Saracens exchange only one of their AM for reinforcements, not 2. Now, this is the only scenario where that can happen. Oh, this is the first turn Saracen reinforcements. Okay. And they may have up to 2 reinforcement markers available, also at a cost of only 1 regular AM for all of 1190 before. Yeah, well, there are none. So, great. Again, I'll use something else, but it's disturbing. This is also weird because it's like first turn, but it's actually all of 1190 before October, November, which is over here. So I have several turns of that. And this is not, those counters being missing and the extra counters for Richard and Saladin, those are things that will affect any Third Crusade game, right? You need at least one of those expanded reinforcements. It has its own event table, which we can peek at. The core of this game is to recapture Jerusalem. The Crusaders win automatically if they take Jerusalem. But there is a victory point total. They have to get to 26 victory points if they get, by the end of the game, if they can't get Jerusalem. That's pretty hard, but it does give you some strategic flexibility, which might be especially important because this is the scenario where Barbarossa comes in. If we look here, the victory point totals are the same. There's no attempt to balance the game based on Barbarossa coming in. And that's okay because there's a bad event that can make Barbarossa die. So you could get the Barbarossa fails situation. This is what I really wanted all along. Now that's an option. You could do it so that Barbarossa has to survive. Speaking of Barbarossa, his army is too big to be covered by the countermix. I've got 100 here under Frederick of Swabia. 100. That's an immediate plus 10 to the attrition roll. Why do I have them there? Yeah, I'm not sure that's a good idea. I might want to put them in. Barbarossa has 350 troops with him, plus 5 knights. Now, the reason that I cut the 100 out is because I'm worried about knights attrition. If you recall, like, I don't want to lose my armored knights. They're what make these Crusader armies very powerful. But 350 troops is pretty fucking powerful on its own. The thing is, I'm going to suffer attrition. And what I'm really curious about here is a force of 350 starts out with a 35 on the attrition table, okay? If I move slowly, I'm taking horrible attrition. But if I move very quickly, I can get quite a bit of distance without taking, like, I'm not taking that 35 each time I move, so I can do kind of a blitzkrieg across. The problem, of course, with that is, again, the knight's attrition, which I may just say screw it and put all 350 into him there. I'm trying to see where the knight attrition is. I think it's like you have to take 20%, or no, 20 points or something. I don't remember. I'm looking for it. Where are knights? Fuck. Armored knights and attrition. Whenever one with armored knights, the armored knights are added to the total attrition. So that puts me up to a 40 attrition, not 35. So again, distance begins to matter less and less. I can run really fast with this big army and probably save attrition, which seems absolutely insane. The game is not, the attrition stuff is not designed well. And this particular scenario with that 350 army, this pushes the limits to the absurd, and what we're going to see is, I think, Barbarossa's army just storm right down and get down there immediately. But the armored knights, if attrition losses are 5 or more, yeah, that's going to happen. Determine the percentage of ASPs lost without rounding up or down. The tens digit of that percentage is the number of armored knights lost. I got a huge army. I think that I can avoid losing all of my knights. I'm going to lose some no matter what, by moving more quickly. So I actually think that full 350 makes the most sense, and just push Barbarossa as far down as I can on really kind of one command move. We'll think about that a little bit. We have also a bunch of neutrals kicking around in here. It's not really clear what's up with them, but I guess they're not really doing anything. We'll look at the neutrals chit to see what that does about it. We have a different events table. Now, there's like revolt at Edessa. I don't know what that's going to be, but that sounds painful to me. If playing Barbarossa and Barbarossa is still alive, when you get a C, the leader ill, this becomes Barbarossa dies, which I think is going to make his army go home. So you kind of got to use them all at once. And then we have some no events A and B. If Frederick is still alive, place, I guess they mean Barbarossa, place 15 ASP in Damascus. If the Franks have taken Acre, this event becomes Philip goes home. Just all kind of stuff, you know, that's modified by that. But I got to look at the neutrals chit. And that's going to be... it's so fucking hard to find things in this rule book. I don't know. And the fact that there's 3 different rule books, okay, one of them doesn't matter, but 2 of them that I've read that are slightly different layout. Not the core of the layout, but like where something is on a page or something is going to be harder to find, because I looked at 2 sets of rules that have almost exactly the same rules, but just placed a little differently. That's a really bad... Like, it was just a horrible decision to make 2 separate rule books that are so close to each other. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for the neutrals chits. That's going to be under these. In the Third Crusade, they can put a maximum of 5 AMs in the pool. Each player can select as before. Each player may put 1 or 2 fleet AMs in the mix, with each fleet AM costing 1 of his 5 AMs. Now, what's interesting about that, there's 3 fleet markers, not 4. They're not distinguished by player. I think whoever went like, you're generating more naval action, I guess. The Saracen can use 2 of his to place 1 of his reinforcements in there. Okay, but what about the neutral one? Unlike the Third Crusade, the fleet neutrals and Saracens are not used. Saracen reinforcement. The neutrals are not being explained here, nor are any of the others. Okay, here, they're explained up here. Okay. In the Third Crusade, the neutral's AM is placed in the pool each turn. When drawn, it allows the frank player to activate all eligible neutrals. If he activates any or decides not to do so, even if 1 or more neutrals are eligible, the marker is discarded. However, if there are no eligible neutrals available, this is put back in the AM pool. Why? So that it may be drawn again. I don't know what makes them eligible. I don't remember seeing anything about that. I don't know what they do. Now, there's one that is eligible. Leo is discussed somewhere about his eligibility, but these other neutral forces, I don't know when they're eligible and when they're not. And I need to break. I can't cope with this right now. I really think the strength is a bit of a, well, I think what I want to do is I want to split the forces. Now, the first thing I thought about is, okay, well, first of all, it doesn't make sense to have 250 here. I'll have 249. But, you know, I actually think I want to have it as small as possible, more or less. So, 350, we're looking at 180 and 170, or about there. I'll probably go 179, 171. Just to reduce the chances of losing knights. Whatever proportion I can get of this huge army into play, the better I am. So I'm going to actually fish into other sets. The English and French use these. The Germans obviously use this. The only set that can get me close, I don't know. I may just write down on paper how big these forces are, because they're just ridiculous at this point. Automatically, you could actually probably figure out what your best opportunity is in terms of, you know, where you're paying too much maybe for movement attrition compared to what you're paying for in just the size in the movement attrition set. I don't want to go through all of that. I'm going to try to go pretty much as far as I can, because I feel like that extra 17 is really going to be the problem. But again, if I'm going much above 17 attrition points, I may be causing an issue here. I just don't want to think too hard about it. So I'm going to just kind of play it by ear. Who do I want to go first? This is something I have to choose, because the first turn of the scenario, I don't understand what's up with that. And again, I have counters that I don't really want to include. I can can throw, I can use these Umars from the second for the additional, for the reinforcement chips that I'll want to put in. Don't really understand the neutrals chip, but I think those are all pro. Yeah, again, do we have any discussion of how the neutrals come into play? Are they in the events? Oh wait, the Saracens get the initiative for the first turn. So they actually get to pick one. I don't see anything that causes the neutrals to come into effect. Here we got neutrals. Okay. At the beginning of each game turn of the Third Crusade, the neutrals activation is placed in. When it's drawn, it's used to activate all the allied neutrals on the map that have met the activation requirement. Okay. So the requirements are actually here. They may not be activated until they're attacked by the Saracens, but only a Saracen attack on the Armenians frees them for activation. However, they may be used by the Franks in any attempt to take Cyprus, whether or not the Saracens have previously attacked them. They can never be combined in an activation of any kind with armies of either leader named Bohemond, which would be Tripoli and Antioch? Yeah. Which makes sense. A Saracen attack on Antioch or Tripoli will allow the Frank to activate both. These are part of Kingdom of Jerusalem, but they're not commanded by either Guy or Conrad. They can be attacked by any of the other, attached to any of the other kings. Okay. Cyprus can't be activated. It must be taken via the siege and or assault rules. The Cypriot ASP never leaves the city. Remember, that's a deep water port. That can be really important. The only other one is Acre. We're going to have to worry about naval attrition in this one because navies are more important here. Ports controlled by Allied neutrals can be used for transport, but they may not be used for fleet support. The resources of cities controlled by Allied neutrals can be used by Frankish forces as if they were Frankish controlled. However, Armenians requiring resources get these resources first. Okay. What is the naval support rules? The fleet attrition. Each port on the map has a fleet support capacity of 4. The deep ports have unlimited. At the end of each game turn, if the fleet is in a sea zone above the capacity of the ports in that area, to do fleet support, it must check for attrition. And you roll a die for each fleet counter. So here I have, 3 fleets? It's per strength point? I don't remember. Yeah, it's per strength point. So I have 6 strength points where 8 can be supported. So that's okay. Here, though, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the way, one of them, the counter's wrong, but whatever. I have 10 strength points, but I only have a support of 4. So I got a problem here. If I don't move the fleets, we're going to get massively depopulated. And we probably can't keep this naval blockade of Acre going. Whereas these fleets can actually operate due to Acre's deep water port. For some reason, Tyre's not a deep water port. It would make sense because these fleets can't survive there otherwise, but whatever. I guess we're going to start. If the Saracens go first, I'm trying to remember where. Here we go. Third Crusade. No, this is not it. Initiative. Yeah, so the Saracens get to pick one of their counters that they can utilize first. And I don't remember how those reinforcements work either. Fuck. God, this game is annoying. Do they give me the rules for like, I know they give me the this. They don't give me the rules reference to find what I want to find. Which is what I get for reinforcements. Here we go, reinforcements. Saracens have the ability to raise troops. To do so, they spend the AM reinforcement. Normally it would cost 2. Here I'm going to be getting it for 1 each for the first part of the scenario. And when it's drawn, the other die says where they're placed. Yeah, I don't get that. One die tells you how many ASPs are raised. The other die tells you where they're placed. Use Saracens no matter where they're placed, even in the Fatimid box. You know, it doesn't suggest making any distinguishment between Fatimids and Saracens in this scenario, if I recall correctly. We can look that up later. Yeah, I don't see how the number tells me a damn thing. Is there some chart? Saracen reinforcement table. So here it is. Okay, so it's actually not 1 to 6. It's a bunch, and it shows up based on a die roll there. And somewhere it tells me to use counters. For Saladin, use Kerboga's army box, blah, blah, blah. It actually doesn't tell me which troops to use. Oh, wait, here it does. Use Northern Syrian ASPs for the Saracen forces. Nothing about any division between factions. I'm actually using the Northern, but Southern could be added in, whatever. It doesn't matter. The muscles. I just use some Saracen forces. Right then. How worried am I about Acre falling? Well, here's the thing. Let's count what we've got here. 5, 10, 20, 24, 25, 26, 27. I think 37. I think this is Conrad's box. 37, that's enough to have this under siege. I'm not facing any knights, strangely enough, there. Which might mean that Kerboga, not Kerboga, Saladin could attack. But with a partial siege, I mean, he's smaller unless he includes this. So I think I'm going to take this as my initial choice. But let's look at what else we want to do. We got, Fleets have to be put in. Wow, I don't understand how the fleets work either, right? The fleet chits. What the fuck's up with them? Because it's not like the Crusader fleet anymore. There's fleets on both sides, and either side can put the fleet chits in. It's not covered in the fleet rules. I'm not sure I expected it to be there. It should be in the AM rules, wherever the fuck those were. Activation markers. The fleets aren't specified here. Here it says you could put 1 or 2 AMs in, with each fleet AM costing 5. I'm sorry, each fleet costing 1 of the 5, right? Oh God, this is just fucking killing me. The neutrals, I don't think there's a rule on the fleet AM. Here it says all AMs go into the pool. Okay, so this is weird. Each scenario states who has the initiative. For all other game turns, each player rolls the die on the initiative determination. Okay, so you always get to pick who you're going to go first if you have the initiative. So we actually have to roll for initiative all the time. I haven't been doing that. I don't know how much of an effect it has. But I'm disgusted again and need to walk away from this game. I still can't get started. You know, these fucking rules are so bad. Just the way they're organized and everything, that I just can't fucking face it. One of the problems is I have absolutely, like, no confidence in the rules, right? First of all, there's places where they contradict, places where this stupid quick start gives wrong impressions, or impressions that are different from the rules, whatever. And tries to mishmash both sets into one book, but without, like, with even less clarity than the original rules do, which is more or less what I'd expect. But also, with things like how bad the attrition rules actually are, how wrong they are, how bad the siege rules are, everything, I just don't have confidence that the rules as written are trying to represent anything, or are succeeding in representing anything. As opposed to the original, where I can see what the intention was and what's being attempted. In this one, I really cannot. The idea that a big force should move really, really fast. Now, you can make some arguments about that. You're covering more territory, so you're not stopping and eating anywhere, I guess. Just to me, it feels like you're not stopping, you're moving slowly enough that you can gather food from wherever you are, would make more sense. And that pressing someone in a month's time to run all the way from back here down to Jerusalem does not make a lot of sense, right? Like, that doesn't seem like it's going to be, or whatever path I take, doesn't seem like it's going to be my best mechanism for reducing attrition. And I can bypass towns. I am going to have problems in certain places. This is a castle. This was a problem in the last one. It's not here. I can get through that. So it looks like I can make it down to Acre all in one jump, if that is the most reasonable. And that coastal pathway is actually relatively quick. Let's take a look. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's getting, so I'm evening them out. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So let's say I brought the full, well, let's say I'm bringing the 17, because the full 35 doesn't make a lot of sense. Say I'm bringing the 17 that I'm going with. I say 17 and 28 is 30, 45. I'm going to take about 30 losses, plus the die roll, right? Which is almost unimportant. If I break into 2, let's say instead of 28, I go 14, 15 each, say 14 each time. Let's make it as easy as we can. 14 and 17 is 31. Which means I'm going to lose a little less. So I probably should go with that, about that 17 number. That's my guess. Now, after taking attrition once, it's going to lower my target of how much I have to lose. So yeah, I'm going to want to put Barbarossa in three times. That allows me to move him twice and maybe do something else. And probably clear Saladin out of the way. Guy only has 1. That gets me to 4. And Frederick only has 1. And I want him to move as a further reinforcement. So that's what I'm going to throw in. Everything except Conrad, who's under Guy. I'm not sure. They're both listed as sieging. But Conrad is listed as being on a different space, essentially, if he's pushed out or whatever. And for the Muslims, I was going to put this into play. I want lots of Saladin. So that gets me 4, and I'm going to drop a fleet in, because I have actually, I don't care about a fleet. Okay, do the Christians care about the fleet? They really should. They need to get an effective fleet. Let's take a Barbarossa out and put a fleet in. The neutrals automatically goes in, although it probably won't have any effect. What are we doing? We're doing 1, 3 Saladins. Now, I guess we have to declare how many fleets we're putting in secretly or something like that. And another reinforcement in there. And we'll put that in. And so our first one is going to be this, which is going to be reinforcements. Let's just do that, get playing, and then I break because I don't want to deal. Okay, so we look for the Saracen reinforcements. I'll use the yellow as the lead die here. We get 8 strength points in any cities. I don't think we can put them under siege. This is not a bad, this is a castle, not a city. I guess Damascus is the closest city, so that's where I'm going to put them. I am in danger of having too many strength points. I hope I've got the right people in the right place. Again, fucking wrong names everywhere. So let's see. For Saladin, Kerboga, for Al-Adil, use Hassan. For Al-Afdal, okay, this is Al-Afdal. This is Al-Adil. I got another one, don't I? Thought I had a 4th one. Okay, yeah, I have Taki, who's not on either. Okay, so I'm going to put the 8 extra troops here with Al-Afdal, who is in the Baldock box. I'm actually going to stop because I wanted to before, but I figure if I have to pick one of these ahead of the turn, I got to deal with it. Back up here, my first draw is a roll on the events table, which I have to find. There it is. And we get a 5. That's Philip goes home. I don't think that happens. Philip's not even here yet. Acre has to have been taken for him to go home. So that's not going to happen. I guess we draw another event. Okay, we get Guy. Now, I'm facing a big force there with no leader, so it can't come out and fight or anything. I'm not going to be able to starve it out because it's too big. Again, the attrition system doesn't work. Guy has 10, 14, 15, 25, 26, 27, 37 strength points versus 19, but it's only a partial siege, which means I wouldn't, we're talking 18 and a half versus 19, whatever. I'd actually be too small, so I'd take a penalty on it, which is not good. I kind of think that the Siege of Acre is impossible at this point, and that I'd rather fall back. This is not historical, but there's no reason for me to be there trying to starve out that larger force, except that Barbarossa could be coming down. But he can come down anyway. Gosh. I only put 2 of his in there because I needed the fleets to have some chance of escaping their death. Oh boy. Acre's actually not worth shit. I can only, it's by strength point, which is fucked up. I think we may just want to move away and lay siege to something else. I'm trying to see what's worth anything here. Tyre, I've got points for that. Tripoli, I've got points for that. Tortosa is mine. Latakia is not, but that we're getting too far north there. Karak, I think, is that one. Jaffa down here, I could conceivably take that. Antioch is mine. Like, it feels like I have close to the 26 points, honestly, that I need for victory without Acre, without Jerusalem. Caesarea is probably the easiest thing to take, but I've got supplies out of Tyre, which makes Sidon or Beirut easier, but they're not worth shit. I don't know. I think think we'll just pick this up and head out. So we are, how many did we say? 10, 20, 25, 35. So we're 3, which isn't too bad. 4, 5 to here. And of course, we just ravage. Because there's no garrison there. Don't get a continuation, but ravaging can be done for free. Anyway, I'm going to pull away, but you can see the game immediately seems to be encouraging behavior because Acre is as impossible as it turned out to be for Guy's forces. It's just behavior that's not historical. Another event, this time we rolled assassins. Roll a die. You're supposed to give a player an assassin counter. There's no such thing in the game. The Saracen players get an assassin counter. They can block the castle, they can remove blockage, or they can attempt to murder someone other than Saladin or Richard. Murdering Barbarossa, I wonder if it would count as him going home. It doesn't feel like it should. So making his troops disappear wouldn't be the effect. Although it would put things under Frederick here, which is more problematic. But I think I will just keep an assassin marker. And we'll pretend that this will remind me that I have it, because I might want to murder someone later on. Barbarossa could be very dangerous as a leader. We get a Saladin play. I think I'm going to pick up those troops, and I'm going to head out and try to defeat Guy's army. And we have some 39. He has 10, 20, 37. That's going to put us at about equal. I have the advantage on harassment, so that's what I'm going to go with. He doesn't have knights. We make the roll to see if he gets Western aggression. He doesn't. And then we go to the harassment resolution, where I have a +2 to my command rating for that. We get a 6. That's going to kill a couple of Crusaders or Franks. That's fine. Probably I'd like to just take 2 off the French, both for simplicity, but also because I definitely want to take hits on French because Philip goes home is a problem. And then, we get to keep rolling for continuations, and I'll come back after that's done, maybe, if it's impressive. We got a few rounds of it. Everything was taken 1 point each off the French each time, so not too impressive. But okay, we get a Barbarossa. Now, I said I wanted to go with 17, which will get me to a 34. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 to Latakia. we'll stop there. So now I've got 17 and 17 is 34. 35, 36. Minus 14 means I lose 22. And I don't know where I hit my pencil. It's over here. So this goes down to 157. I roll a quick continuation. He's pretty good, but I don't get it, which is not a huge problem. I'm okay being out there because I don't particularly yeah, I'm going to get another counter. Make sure I have another Saladin counter in there. There are none here. Actually, he's one too few as well. Oh, no, he's got 3. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. I just had to make sure I had another one in there because I don't want to do harassment attacks and end up stuck in this ravaged location. Anyway, a couple of good rolls. Not a lot of continuations total. But now he's down to 10, 15, 19, and 9, 28 strength points. Whereas I'm sitting at 39. So I've got a bigger force. Still probably don't want to attack. It's better to do the harassment. None of the Western aggression happened. I forgot about the points that I took here. So I took 22 hits on him. I think that's going to cost me 1 night. Because I think it's anything over 19 or something like that. Which, honestly, is just never going to happen in the First Crusade. Where the fuck is it? This is point and ravaged. Knights are covered in that, but they're also covered here. Where are the knights? Fuck. Okay, I thought they were there. They're not there. Armored knights and attrition way over here. This is under the movement attrition. It should be part of this. It's not. It's just over here as a separate section, even though knights are covered individually everywhere else. If losses are 5 or more, determine the percentage lost. Okay. I lost 22 out of 180. 18 would be 10%. I'm not going to be above 10%, so I think I only lose one of my knights. I thought, yeah. I don't have them in place here. I must have pulled them all out. I don't know where my fucking knights are. I had 5, right? Now I should be at 4. That's why I forgot them. They're not on the board. Okay. And I guess I'm on the next chit or whatever. Up for every damn chit. I get a neutrals. There's only 1 neutrals in here. None of them are eligible by the rules that we saw. So we pull another chit, I guess. I don't know. I get another Saladin. This is my last Saladin, I guess. I'm guessing a lot of things. Should have left some troops back here. I'm at least blocking Guy here. I think Acre's going to fall no matter what. But the Crusaders may not want Acre to fall ever. Because, and again, let's completely disregard the actual historical motivations and everything here. They may not want Acre to fall because that could make Philip go home. And then I wouldn't get the French troops. Everything is perverted in this game. It's like they didn't really put the thoughts in mind about what I want to do. I don't want to stick around where Guy is. I could drop troops off in Acre to protect it and prevent Guy from taking it easily. I think that's probably my best move, and then move on to Tyre if I can. Dropping off, I didn't get a continuation. I'm going to go down and watch some more videos, just because I don't particularly feel like playing right now. I don't know. I'm okay with it. It's kind of like, it's just the game is such a disappointment in so many ways. It's dark now. I don't know how late. Not too late, but and here on Sunday, I drew a fleet counter. Saladin was the last one. As far as I can tell, whoever buys the fleet counters, it doesn't matter. That fleet counter is going to allow Saladin to move the Egyptian fleet up to engage. Now, do I care to? The important thing is that the attrition is going to take these guys out. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 points of fleets. Well, I can move these up as well. 1, 2, 3, and these, and get a numerical superiority, which should allow the fleet combat that I want. That'll get me 10, 14. To 10. And this is a buckets of dice fight. I'm going to do it with the dice I have. I'm not going to do it on video. I kind of lied. I pumped additional dice. I wasn't going to do it with just 4 dice, I guess. And then this is what we end up with losses there. No naval combat. I don't think there's any retreat or anything like that from it. Right. But the Crusader fleets are badly destroyed by this. By being, and they're the ones who put the chit in, but they're the ones who needed the chit. They needed to get out of there. Now they actually can support it out of Tyre. How about that? But the Egyptians, of course, are under support from Acre. If Acre falls, though, then they're in trouble. Whatever. Philip goes home event, which I think would prevent him from showing up, and then a few strength points. I think 4 strength points showed up with Saladin here at Acre. Great. Give me, replenish my forces or whatever. I put a garrison in place. It doesn't hurt to have more. And then I get Frederick of Swabia, who's going to do the same kind of march down here. I'm going to send him just as far. He's that same 17 and 17, which is 34. To get down here to Latakia. That's a 34, 36. Minus the magic 14 is again 22 strength points. Comes off that instead this time. So now I'm at 149, which is actually a good number. Both numbers are pretty decent. I'm going to leave them as they are. I might have reorganized the forces in order to balance it out more. And now I roll for a continuation, which I actually get. And that is going to allow me to move Frederick down to here, or down to Saladin's location, and just, you know, basically lock him in. And with the big force here under Saladin, I might as well full siege it, because he's my biggest worry, I guess. So that's going to be another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now it's 14 only, and 10 is 25 base. Makes it 28 minus 14. I lose another 14 strength points, which brings me to 135. I'm debating whether or not I want to ravage it, or I want to drop it under siege. I can ravage it automatically. It's really unlikely I'm able to drop it under siege, so let's ravage it. Problem with ravaging is that this will keep recovering, so two losses will come from that, and I only will suffer 1. So yeah, that doesn't even make sense. So I'll roll for the continuation instead. I do not get it. I think, yeah, I got a couple of chits left. One's the Barbarossa. In a situation, Barbarossa gets 10. That puts him to 25. 30 minus 14 means he loses 16. So he's at 141. We don't have to rebalance those troops. Again, I try to put him under siege. This time I succeed. And now I've got Saladin's army trapped in Acre. And that's the main reason I want to do this, is that I've got him caught there at this point. And the last thing is merely another event. Frederick could die, you know, which is an 8. It's a heat event. Oh, that's going to be in play, but it does have some impact on the attrition levels for the turn. So we'll keep that into account. Chit's empty, or cup's empty. So, yeah. Siege attrition. Again, it doesn't matter that there's huge forces here, right? This is a 1. This force loses 1 strength point. Take it off there. I'll be erasing at some point or another. And because these are still too big for the countermix. The countermix can handle, you know, maybe 130 or so, but that's about it. And Saladin himself, oh, I'm sorry, that's not right. We use the siege attrition tape, which is also not affected by the size. This is not blockaded. In fact, the defender has a fleet present, so there's a -1 for the defense. I've already taken 1 off for those. 6 would have been 3, so I lose 2 more. I don't know where I'll take them from. I'll take them off of Barbarossa. Saladin himself gets a 5. He only takes 2 losses. He can eat those. But why eat them from Acre when I can sea supply and eat them from, say, Jaffa, which will work. We have the ravage attrition here, where Guy is going to take that over, and Caesarea will become his. And I think that's it in terms of attritions. Siege, and I have to rack my brains for this because things are a little different. Ravage does not allow me to buy it off. which feels ridiculous to me. So yeah, Guy is going to get that. What am I going to take? One English and one Jerusalem, I guess. And put that here. We don't worry about Guy. I'm just wondering if I've got any places where I need control markers, but because the castles, I didn't point this out before, the castles actually have a colored side for control. They can never be uncontrolled, so that's okay. The only weird thing is this one, and I put a control marker on it because that looks too much like a Crusader unit. That's the assassins. I didn't even realize they had troops because I expected them to be some different color. Something that doesn't look like either side, really. I don't know. So yeah, that'll push us. Oh, heat. Did heat affect this? Yeah, I don't know. Huh. I did not bother to look. No, it would only affect movement. Well, it says movement and attrition die rolls. So it should have actually been in play. I may have lost an extra franc. I don't think so. I think I'm okay with whatever I took. The big difference is I can't take from Jaffa. I have to take from the Fatimid box. It has like 10, I think. I don't remember. It doesn't even say. And they might have taken a third loss, but whatever it is, it's fully canceled out and fully repaired, and nothing really happens this turn. And that will move us forward, where we get some additional reinforcements coming in, which are spelled out somewhere. Bzz, 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 bzz. I don't know where. Where are they? Like here it has Frankish reinforcements, and it's just got this note. Now I know I saw them. I'm in the wrong scenario. That might help. Here they are. Now they're not actually here. So in the Third Crusade, I'm not sure that the Franks are actually even on there with their reinforcements, which would just be par for the fucking course. You could find it here. Okay, so June to mid-July, we get what we got here. This is the new one, Tyre. Henry, Count of Champagne with 28, and an additional Flemish fleet will show up here at Acre. Great. Well, luckily that happens after the turn. I've got to get out of here. So there's my Henry, and there's his troops. But yeah, I've got to get those fleets out of there and away from where the Egyptians can stage such a huge fleet. And probably scattered too, you know, because, I mean, here I can stay, well, I can't be here. Here I can stage 4, here I could stage 4, strength points, of course. Here I could stage 4. There's nowhere where I can stage more than 2 fleets, basically. And as we roll into the second turn, it's got to be getting to be around 8 p.m. I don't know. It was around 7 when I went down last time. So, I gotta say, I'm not a fan of picking an event, one of these chits, ahead of play. I really don't like how it forces me to think, and I'm not really in favor of anything where I have to think too much. That neutrals should have kept going back in the cup and coming back out to guarantee if somehow they got interfered, they would come in. Guy is over here. Okay. So, I'm going to have to roll for initiative and figure out what I'm doing based on, do a lot of thought as to, yes, is there one I really want to have? I guess it's kind of cool. It gives a bonus to the person who gets that die roll, but in terms of balance or anything, it doesn't really do anything. And I'm not really sure that there's a reasonable argument in favor, I have some cleanup I need to do here, in favor of that situation, right? Because, just checking to make sure. Why is it one person would have that edge or not? It's an interesting little thing, but I'm tempted to throw it out because I didn't like it. I'm not used to seeing it. I didn't play with it in the card First Crusade at all. I played with it for the first turn only in the Second Crusade because I thought it was only one turn. I see by the way it's written, it's every turn. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that thought, But on the other hand, it is the rules. Why not? It feels, where it could be really useful, I guess, is you could grab the fleet marker if you have it. So, I don't want it to mix up my troop allotments and whatnot. Which I do at the same time I pick my chits and everything, because that's when I'm doing all my thinking. So I'm just going to roll. Odd would go, okay, so the Christians have it. They could force a fleet marker to be their first marker if they choose to buy that. That would be of some value, I guess. Saladin is stuck in here. That's going to be problematic for him. It makes it a lot harder. I'm not going to have an easy way to free him from the German army. I can pull him out with boats, I guess. Which gets me to the naval transport rolls. Each strength point can transport 5 ASPs. I have 10, 11 strength points, so I could carry up to 55 with me, which I can actually pull out of there. So, are there any limitations? In particular, do those Christian fleets cause me an issue? It doesn't look like they do. It looks like I can get out with them. So I'm probably going to want to put a fleet marker, a fleet activation in with them. I don't know how to stop this huge army. This is a 270 strength point army. The Muslims don't have anything like that. The thing I can hope for is that Barbarossa dies and his army dissolves. But yeah, I mean, it's very easy to get him all the way down there as long as you move at ridiculously high rates of movement that you would not do normally in this game, because they degenerate your army quickly. But for large armies, it's actually economical for them to move very, very fast. which again, the attrition system just doesn't make sense. And it did in the original. That's what's so painful here, is that like this game is just such a failure compared to a game that was problematic back in the S&T version. This one just doesn't work. That one wasn't a lot of fun and had some issues that needed to be fixed, but this one, the very core of it, at so many levels, but the attrition across the board is the worst, is just completely unbelievable. Not just the movement attrition, this huge army here, it takes the normal siege attrition. And, you know, the fact that I've got an army that's too big to be supported in that area, in the first game you would be taking percentage losses. Here, nope. Christian chits, I'm putting the 3 Barbarossas in. I'm going to just take my losses on the fleets, although I might be in danger when Richard comes in or whatever. Throwing Guy and Henry in. I probably should move the fleets, but I'm not sure. See, Guy I want to move because he's going to get me closer to Jerusalem. And in fact, if I take this, I've got an open path to Jerusalem. So that's appealing there. The question is whether or not I know that Saladin's slipping out. I am aware that he's going to slip out. I'm going to take a Barbarossa chit out and replace it with... Oh, if I know he's slipping out, I don't care about my fleets. Yeah, I'm going to put the Barbarossa in. For the Muslims, I was going to put a Saladin chit in, but I can't guarantee what order things will happen. And this is where the initiative would matter. So I'm moving the other 2 leaders, getting reinforcements twice, and putting a fleet marker in. So now Guy is what's going to go first, and I need to take Arsuf, so he probably only moves that far. Managed to get a continuation. His strength is not that high. He has 10, 17, 21, 26. Probably not enough to take Jerusalem. It's enough to lay siege to it, but probably not continue it. So I grabbed Arsuf and Jericho. I don't know. Jericho might be worth something. I can't remember. No, it's Tiberius that's worth something. I mean, you know, it's just so fucking random. Yeah. And I guess I draw again and see what we get. We get an event. It's a leader ill. Uh-oh. If playing Barbarossa and Barbarossa is alive, this becomes Barbarossa dies. Well, this is going to change the whole nature of the game. Barbarossa dies. Emperor Frederick succumbs to heat and exhaustion and shuffles off. He can have his card. He doesn't have a card. Apparently they thought about putting cards in for everybody, I guess, and decided they couldn't do that for obvious economic reasons. I thought I saw a reason why First Crusade made more sense with cards, especially with that big event deck, but they could have done that without. The Germans are so leader-oriented, they take this as an omen. The Frankish player rolls 3 dice. This is the number of German ASPs he must remove from the game, even if it means removing all of them. That's not that many. Do we have a replacement for Barbarossa? We do not, which means everything is going to devolve into Swabia, and he has no chits. This is fair. I'm not disturbed by the idea that his army is unable to accomplish anything anymore. But the biggie is I lose some 3 dice worth of guys. I only lose 11 guys. Historically, his whole army basically turned around when this happened, and that's what I was expecting. It's the army that's the problem. So I have 262 here. Now, some of his force did make it down, although it's not part of this. It's Archduke Leopold and whatever, which I think comes in this pile. So you could make a reasonable argument, hey, if he made it this far, he'd be fine, you know. Anyway, I'm going to play it by the rules because whatever, but this is not going to be a very interesting scenario with 262 Germans and their 4 knights there. We get the Muslim reinforcement. I'm going to say that gives them control of initiative at this point. And we will get 4 ASPs in the Fatimid box. Not where I really want them, but it's okay. I'm not going to be able to use control boxes for most of these guys because there's too many Saracen leaders to use just one box, and all the lookups are just too fucking annoying. I can get used to the Christian ones, but these guys not so much. So I just drew an Al-Adil, or Al-Adil, yeah, who's over here. Now the question with him is, do I dive him straight down towards Jerusalem? I think I've got enough troops in Jerusalem. I can try to pick up the Tiberias garrison and whatnot. Make our way through Tiberias and down to Jerusalem anyway, getting it. It's obviously the goal of the Crusaders, but again, they can probably just win on points. I'm just wanting to end this quicker by taking that. So he was successful at the movement he wanted. I mean, one of the big problems is, so all of my Saracen leaders are 1-star leaders, so I don't have to worry too much about strength points as long as, like, that was one of the problems is without the boxes, I've got the strength points stacked under them, which is kind of problematic. But Saladin is a serious issue because if he dies, he would have sucked these in. If he, oh, maybe not. He tried to delay things with a couple of strength points. Why not? I don't know. If he dies, then there's a problem. That the Muslims have almost no one. And he's got Taki with him too, who is, hey, that used to be my nickname from my cousin, who is simply not, you know, he'd be the next best leader that I have available. He's only a 1-star, but yeah, there'd basically be no forces, there'd be no commanders, and nowhere near the forces that I need, because the main force is here, and it's still not big enough, but, you know, can't face 262. Let's just put it that way. I suspect I should have lost another knight on the way down. So I went, I can't remember what. I was around 170. I don't remember how many I took. I don't know. I maybe should be down a knight. Let me take away 1 knight because I think I failed to take attrition for that second run down. That second run down, what was it? It was 1727, 30 something. Minus 14 puts it at around 16. Yeah, maybe I didn't lose one on the first one, but whatever. I think I should have lost a knight each time, but that's okay. I've got this huge fucking army here. Okay, where am I? Barbarossa, he's not on the board anymore. His chits can go away along with himself. And now we get the neutrals. Theoretically, they go back in the cup. They just keep going back in, which is going to be really obnoxious. Get an event. This is another leader ill. Okay. Now this is just fucked up. The player whose AM is next drawn designates any leader. That's just bullshit. I mean, yes, you could do it that way, but it's certainly not how I thought it, and it's not the concept of like I know who just got it. So I know who went. I know who's available. I'm going to make him sick because he has a large enough force that he could do something. Right? Wait, do I roll? Oh, it's got to be higher than his activation rating. Okay. Good enough. Yeah, I'm going to do it that way because that's how the game is fucking designed, or was. I don't understand. Like, otherwise I'd be pulling this and saying, oh, Henry gets to pick it. Well, there might not be another chit. Whatever. I don't know. There also ought to be a chance of someone dying, or of more of these Germans going home. But Henry gets to go. I don't know what I want to do with Henry. Henry has 28. He's going to head for Jerusalem as well, because that is my victory conditions, and we'll see how far he can get. I'm up to join Guy, and I call him Guy now. I used to just call him Guy, because that's what it looks like, man. But now I'm just so fucking used to hearing Guy that... yeah, he's going up there, and that puts me in a position where I can gather those troops under him. And then we get Al-Afdal. That's not this. Al-Afdal is probably this guy up here. He's sick, so he can't do anything. Another event. This one's going to come off the Al-Afdal this time. 12. Revolt in Hama. The Saracen player must immediately move Saladin and 10 ASPs to the revolting city if it's not in Frankish hands, and stay there with that army for the remainder of the turn. Okay. So Saladin taking 10 kind of fucks things up. This is like he somehow magically goes there. Out of this siege, he slips away and gets to where? Where was it? I don't remember. Hama. So he's up here. He has to stay for the rest of the turn. That's effectively a leader ill. And now Taki, who I am going to give this space to, he doesn't actually have a space, is here. I guess with the rest of the troops. It doesn't matter because I wasn't planning on using any chits for him. But that does get Saladin out, sort of. The neutrals, we keep putting it in. They're not going to come up. Fair enough. Another Barbarossa can't come into play. Another event. Okay, technically Barbarossa was up last, so that's this. 5. Philip goes home. Acre hasn't fallen yet. Philip doesn't arrive is what it would be. Okay, I'm just throwing these fucking neutrals. I'm sick of drawing them. Again, it's a stupid design choice. Another Barbarossa. And then the last chit is finally the fleet chit, where we're going to pick up, we've got all these. That's 11 strength points times 5 is 55. We're going to take Taki. We're going to leave those couple of strength points there. Nah. Oh, actually, he can't pick all this up. Fuck. There's only 10 strength points there. Yeah, I'm actually screwed by this. Where did Taki go? He went there. 1, 2, and I'll drop him off at Ascalon. He can't pick those up either because Saladin has 10 strength points, and I can't exceed that and move. So I'm fucked in different ways now. I don't know what this is. It's just sitting out there. So yeah, we've made it to the end of the turn. We do siege attrition here. That is the only thing that I think we do. We'll do fleet attrition. The siege attrition is affected by a blockade now because the Egyptians pulled out. That will be 10, 11, I think, because it's just 1 for that, which means 4 are lost. Fuck. I don't know what this was. For 2 of them, I can cancel out with Acre itself, but I'm blockaded, so I can't take the rest. So 2 more die. And for the Crusaders, that huge army only loses 3 strength points. One more thing, which is 1 Crusader fleet has to roll a die on the fleet attrition, because I can only support. Wait, wasn't 1 dead? No, it was one of those. Okay, 1 fleet though, not strength point. I can only support 4 strength points out of Tyre. So now we go and look that up, and worried about battery here. Where is it? Fuck. I don't know where it is. Fleet attrition, there it is. 4 through 6, we lose, otherwise we have to move for free. We lose a naval strength point. Okay. That's great. And that is the end of the turn, except this comes back. Couldn't have, yeah. And this pushes forward. No. This is pointless with the Barbarossa just because he can get there with his whole army, basically. They make it sound like, it's going to be this horrible attrition loss. It really wasn't. Yes, I lost 100 strength points, or close to it, but that's nothing. It's a humongous army that just completely dominates the entire field. I have the feeling that the regular Third Crusade, Richard is going to dominate the field too, because if he has knights and his good quality leadership and everything, he's just gonna light the game up. The problem, of course, is there isn't the straight manpower to besiege a number of cities, so you might actually start running low and not be able to get Jerusalem, like in the First Crusade, what we faced. So the Saracens now have the first chit. I'm considering the assassin. I could actually clear somebody out with that, either Guy or well, Guy doesn't really help, does he? Let me see. Where is I think everybody's a 1 star now. Okay. So, yeah, it might be very helpful to clear Frederick out. That would force his troops somewhere else, probably Tyre, and or Tyre. I think it's Tyre. And relieve the siege, which would buy me some additional time or something. But I also won the initiative with them, and that is somewhat annoying because I need to get Saladin moving. I don't really need to put fleets in, so this is an appealing option. If I can get Saladin down to Damascus, he could take command of... Oh, fuck. Okay, I decided this was Taki. Oh, I don't have enough chits for Taki? Yeah, I'm missing 1 chit for Taki. Again, I don't think it's actually missing. I could use this one. Yagi here. He's the same color as the Umar chits. He'll be my second Taki. Again, I mean, the counter mix is just fucked up along with other things in this game. The idea of producing troops is important. The idea of getting Saladin down there is important. I think this is probably my most important goals. I'm going to take a troop chit as my pick. And then for the Crusaders, I kind of want a fleet chit so that I can move and not starve my troops. And I don't have much else. Conrad, like, I just have these 1-point guys. So Conrad's stuff, he'd just be an extra in there anyway. And we'll throw them all in. And then we'll roll up whatever troops. And in a city of my choice, I put them in Jerusalem to make that hold out a little better. I'm going to try to kill Frederick back there. Now I just need to get above, I think, his command rating. It's one of the 2 ratings. Yeah, now I have to look it up. Higher than his activation. Yeah, not command, activation. Okay, that means this big 259 troops, which I can't put anywhere, gets displaced. Now, where does it go? We have some rules on that. I'll find them. It's going to take me a while. Having to do with if a leader is lost. But I'm pretty sure they just go back to Tyre. But they may take some attrition on the way. It's going to take attrition. So this is 259, which means 25, 28, 29 to here. He's not actually going to be there. Oh, wait, does he have a... Yeah, he does not. 34, that means I lose 20 more strength points, so I'm down to 239 there. And I'm going to keep a counter on the board for it because I still can't put 239 units on the board. You know, I mean, I could, but it's hard. And even in the boxes, it's beyond what's reasonable. So that's that. And I guess we pull another chit and see what happens. That's going to be the fleet chit. This was a Muslim action, so they could move their fleet. I don't know that they've put a fleet in play. I don't know that I want to move. Although, I got infinite fleet capacity. Yeah, we'll move up here and we'll do another round of battle. Because if we can wipe out the Crusader fleet, it means Richard can't get anywhere. Unfortunately, we took 2 hits to their 1. And we keep drawing. We get a Saladin. He's only got 10 troops, so he's going to be able to go quite far, but not far the way like Barbarossa's huge army could go, because I don't want to risk losses. Whereas with Barbarossa, the losses are kind of deterministic, basically. I want to see how far I can get towards Damascus. The assassins are a problem. I'm allowed to walk through them, though. I think. There's an event that prevents you from walking through them, so now I have to look because I thought they block you somewhere. And this... Oh, no, this is Antioch. Oh, no, that's not good. Oh, but yeah, we can walk through castles. That's right. Somehow the assassins can block you, but other things can't seem to. Either way, we could come down this way. But this becomes a block. Well, that's actually mine. Got a couple of chits in a row. Picked up the forces in Damascus. Technically, I couldn't have them stacked the way I did because Saladin's force was too small. But I don't know. I was just picking them up anyway, so they could have divided out. And then went to Nablus, picked those up. But this took me 2 chits. I wasn't able to get any continuations and wasn't able to deal with Guy's force. But he was killed. So I'm just going to put him over there. And isn't a legitimate draw. And then I get Henry. Now here's the problem. I would like to get those German forces back into play. If I look at what I've got here, I have 10, 15, 16, 17, 26, 46, 51, 52, 53. You know, that's enough to deal with Jerusalem. I think I'm going to leave them back there. They're not going to get hurt. Of course, it is possible that Saladin could go siege them and take them all. We went down, ravaged Jerusalem. That'll make it more painful. And then I got an event, and I got dissension. In addition to the ongoing feud between Conrad and Guy over who should be king, Richard and Philip mistrusted each other every so often. Philip, ill and not happy, separated himself. Guy's and Conrad's ASPs may not exist in the same space for this turn and the next. If they are presently together, the rolling player may move one of these armies to any friendly city within 5 spaces of Jerusalem. Has to be a city. I guess this is that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I can make it back to Caesarea. And I think this is going to be an attritional check. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no danger there. Let's see what else might happen. We don't have a marker for this. English ASPs may not combine in any way with French, nor French leaders lead English or vice versa until the end of the turn. If this occurs in any game turn from June to mid-July through September to mid-October, the Holy Land suffers a remarkable heat wave. Okay? For the remainder of the turn or that period? Remainder of the turn. Why? I don't know. But we have heat again, and it's going to be the same. Wait, September to mid-October. That was in the that was the last turn of it. Yeah. So we got the heat wave penalty there. And I guess that would have affected this, but it still only puts me to 8 on a 6. I would hit the magic 14 and be perfectly fine. We get a Conrad. He just moved. All right, well, if Conrad's back up here, I might as well march back and get me some Germans. I don't know how many. Probably not too many. Conrad can't command... Conrad's a different faction than Guy. So Conrad can command whatever he likes. He can't command Germans. All my leaders are 1-star except for Guy. Guy is the only guy who can command that big German army who's on the field right now. One of the French or English king could do it too. Think of a damn thing to do with Conrad. He could go back and join those Germans. Wouldn't really do me any good. So I left him where he was. It's hot. But for event, we got truce, which is another new one. Which isn't on here. Oh, there it is. In order to seek some sort of solution in common ground, the leaders of both sides decide to parley. Game turn is over. Okay. That works. Whatever. There goes the heat. It was too hot to fight anyway. We move back up here. I think this was a 1. We'll look it up again. I guess we'd still take attrition, though. Which right now looks like it's just the Jerusalem situation, which is not a siege, so they're going to get their points back, whatever they save from it. And after a couple more hours of sleep, or a couple hours of sleep, I don't know, did I sleep before? I think I kind of did, but not very well. We are with some new reinforcements. This Norman fleet supposedly comes in, a couple of British units there, and the Crusaders got the initiative. We truly actually just don't have very many commanders here. Henry's already setting up his siege. I think it makes sense to put both Guy, Henry, and Conrad in. If I'm going to do all this, I mean, it's all I have. I guess I'll also put a couple of fleet markers in. What do I want to go first? Well, this is at 3, this is at 6, 7, 8, 9 to 6. I'd like to get my fleet moving first, so I'm going to pick that as my choice. What about for, this is just so hard to get to. Where is Conrad? Oh, he's over here. Yeah. But he can't command the German army. Oh, boy. Okay. There's no longer the dissension, though. For the Muslims, I want to keep pulling troops. Saladin's over here. He has a reasonable sized force. He now has Al-Asdal, which I think is this one. Taki is the other one. Don't really need replacements anywhere. I think Saladin is... Do I need to throw a Taki in? I think I just throw lots of Saladin in. Not sure. But By taking these, I can pull my fleets out of there. We'll just run away up here to Tortosa. We have to be careful. Winter, I think they have a different. It's not winter this turn, but I think they have a different attrition rule in winter. Yeah, only the deep ports have a high value. So I will have to split my forces up. I can get 2 of them into here. And, yeah. Okay. Fair enough. We'll see what the next shit pick is. Next shit pick is Conrad. I probably want to get him down. See, here's the problem. Now, if I go down this way, I'm okay. So Conrad has nothing to begin with. There is a +2 for the rainy weather. So I'm at 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't be intercepted. No. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to join Henry there. 10 is not great. Has some chance of an issue. I get a continuation check. It would have allowed me to ravage. And I'll keep going. An event, I'm going to use an assassin. I got an assassin counter as the Frankish player. I'm going to use it right away. It basically has a 50-50. Oh, can't use it against Saladin, right? Shit. Can't use it against Saladin. I'm not sure I want to. The other options are playing with the Assassin's Fortress. I could block someone from cutting through that fortress. That doesn't feel terribly useful. Let's go for Taki. Let's just try to kill him. Oh well. He has moved here. Now he's not a perfect situation. Saladin only has 17 troops though. There's like 30 in here in Jerusalem at this point. But they can't all come out and fight me. So I'm going to drop a partial siege. I did get my continuation. And start starving them out, I guess. So now this is goofy. I got a fleet event and I pushed my entire fleet back to Cyprus. This is problematic because I don't have... I can only support one of these fleets at St. Simeon. But it puts me out of range of these guys attacking. I'm going to have to put fleets in next time too, which is okay for that. Then I got to roll for event. Where I got no event occurs B. No event occurs A. As for the Barbarossa scenario, if Frederick is still alive, put 15 ASPs in Damascus. His army is still here, which is the real problem, right? It's not that he's alive or not, but by technicality, you know, I guess he's supposed to have been destroyed trying to make his army come down there. Yeah, far from it. Of course, Guy should have run over here and grabbed those troops probably, because I don't have enough to face Saladin's combined force really. But I'm hoping for the best, you know. I guess nothing happens. And we get a Saladin shit. And now we're going to harass. Because if Jerusalem falls, it's over. Saladin takes Jericho, does not get a continuation, moves into here, gets several, and wipes the Crusader force down to 21, 31, 34, 39. Still bigger than he is. He's at 30 on his own. He might win, he might not. There's no knights, so, you know. But we got a good run there, is basically what it comes down to. And we'll get a reinforcement roll. And started off doing a harassment attack, but then decided this is dumb after doing one of those, and managed to move around, grab quite a few troops. His movement's getting slowed now. He's at like 50, which makes it kind of hard, but I'm going back to grab the 20 that's here and then turn around to face Jerusalem and Guy's forces at a fairer number. Still got the big problem of that huge German army, but what can I do about it? You know. Right. I haven't drawn the neutrals yet. More troops. Now, as we move into winter, we did the siege attrition here. Guy might have been able to pace him off. Saladin blocks him here. Just trying to see if I have a path. This is blocked. It's not blocked. It's fucked up by the rain. I don't remember what it even does. Somehow, because there's no simple terrain effects chart or anything like that, whenever point-to-point games have things, it just causes issues. But here it's like something that's only in effect during rain turns. And I don't remember what it is. You can't cross it if such a move would take you to an enemy-occupied point. Yeah, I think it's blocked in the rain. Is it here? Yeah, no army can use a river path. Okay, so I can't trace my supply back up this way, which might have gotten me somewhere. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think city entrance is block, so I wouldn't have been able to anyway. Yeah, I'm cut off at this point, so I can't supply my troops for the siege attrition, whereas these guys could, but now they're down to no resources. I got to be careful. We're getting close to that 25 that makes us give up the siege. All those harassment attacks, everything like that did something to us. We'll get to the winter turn, but I'm going to break for a while. I'm going to start reading something else. It's, I'm pretty sure I'm almost, like, this scenario is not going to go on all that long. I'm playing at a fairly rapid pace still. The Crusaders got initiative again. If they want to keep their fleet, they're going to have to put the fleet marker as their first thing, just to guarantee, because otherwise the Muslims could end up getting fleet operations in there and hitting. Why did I throw a second fleet in? Yeah, I probably don't want to. That'll only cause problems, so I'm not going to put all my chits in that I can. I only want one fleet to move. That'll prevent the Egyptian fleet from moving unless they buy their own. Of course, they're fine. They're an acre. These have to split up so that there's like one per area, basically. I cheated. I caught myself at the end of the turn and didn't mention anything, but I was still paying paying the reduced price for these things and allowing myself to put 2 of them in. Now it's going to take 2 of my chits, but I want Saladin to go 3 times. so that I can harass the small force here. This is down to what? 10, 13, 17, 21, 26, 36. I have to get it down below 25 to make it incapable of sieging. Even though there's a huge force here, and I could maybe just eliminate the entire force. Maybe. The thing that I forgot to mention that also came to me last night, this huge force here, this could not exist in the original Crusades. You could not keep that in a city. Cities had a max size that their garrison could be. And if they're above that, the city won't feed them automatically. Yeah, like if you have more troops sitting outside and whatnot, you'd have to figure it out how to feed those troops as well. So something this size just could not exist. And the other sizes, yeah, they're probably a little larger than the sizes of the forces that the Crusaders had in that game, but not a ridiculously. I'm thinking more First Crusade here. Honestly, these forces seem about the same. It's this that's just ridiculously big. But yeah, a force that size could not be kept in the field as a singular unit. You would have to break it between multiple, relatively large cities. I don't remember if the maximum size was 40 or like, I don't know, it might be 100. I'm not sure. But yeah, you couldn't put an entire force of that size entire. Crusaders get a major respite here. Saladin and 10 strength points have to go to Edessa now. And they just teleport up there, and I don't know what I do, you know. He's able to have a garrison here at least. I have equalized these forces. None of them are moving, so I really shouldn't. I didn't need to, but I've equalized those forces down to Saladin's force because I'll want to do that next turn. Now, I got another event, and the Crusaders got an assassin marker. I'm going to take another crack at Taki here. I could conceivably lock this down, but there's a pathway coming down here that's relatively easy. I mean, I can't get intercepted anywhere along it because there's no leaders. So let's take our crack at Taki because he's a little better. And we kill him. Yay, that means I can get rid of the things from his cup. And his troops will now also be dumped in here. To throwing Saladin all the way back there and all my plans being destroyed, his 3 chits are also out. So basically the Muslims have nothing except a reinforcement chit in the cup. Means my Gi draw, I actually want to assault this Jerusalem. I'm not going to starve it out easily. It has like 30 strength points in it. But I have 36, which is enough to get me a big +1 on the siege chart. Leadership doesn't matter. And yeah, we only need to get 5 assaults on it, which seems like a lot because we can only make 1 because Guy will activate the others and then their chits will have been used essentially. But we get 1 and also some ASPs are lost. That's pretty much the turn. I'll run through the chit cup, see if there's anything else, but these guys were used, so I don't believe they can be used again. Let me check that, because in the old game, you could be used twice. So they might be able to activate an attack But I don't know how that would work. Like, I know you can activate units in a stack with other people that are in that stack. Even though you were used otherwise in the stack. So, but I don't know what I can do. Guy is the only one who can go back and take those Germans. So the fact that I did the assault with him, and I kind of need him there. But let me double check and see how this is all worded. It's going to be kind of complicated. By the way, today I'm planning on going out and doing my banking. So whoever it was worried about like me announcing. We'll find out if I get mugged on the way. I mean, it's checks. It's not like carrying cash. It really isn't. Up here, they state the highest ranked leader in the space automatically in charge. His activations determine all siege actions, including assaults, ravaging, etc. Here they say it may assault the city, but see multi-force assaults immediately below. Oh, there is this immediately above. That may be an artifact from the First Crusade. Because quite simply, that rule isn't here in the Second and Third Crusade. How fitting. I'm going to go with what was immediately above and assume that was a typo. But yeah, even the terminology of a multi-force assault or whatever is in the First Crusade, not in this one. So yeah, I think nothing happens. We got some fun, by which I mean places where the rules don't cover. And you know, it's funny because I thought the First Crusade was so fucked up that maybe the Second and Third Crusade rules would work better, but yeah, obviously it actually seems like they maybe paid more attention to the First Crusade, which makes more sense to me. It's the more interesting of the scenarios, but it's like, damn man, those were bad enough they looked like an afterthought. These are worse. Anyway, I got an event. The first one was, I don't remember. It was the no event that kills Barbarossa and has almost no effect on his troop size. But we got another event, which is a dissension. And the physical situation is problematic. King Guy's ASPs and Conrad's may not exist in the same space for this turn and the next. If any are presently together, the rolling player I'm assuming must, move one of these armies to any friendly city within 5 spaces of Jerusalem. English can't combine with French. Not really spelled out. I think I read the this lasts till the end of the turn that's in there, instead of this one, which is supposed to be I'm trying to think what I was saying, which is supposed to be fuck. No, I can't think. I can't think straight. I don't know what's going on. Words lost. Yeah, which is supposed to last for 2 turns, and last time I did it, it only lasted for 1. I just had to find that thread. Now, here's the problem. Last time I was able to trace back to Caesarea or wherever. It is the only place within 5. It would be quite possible there's nothing within 5. There's no instructions on what to do if there's nothing. If I'm like Saladin, I can just fly there. With my army, I guess. But I'm not like Saladin, and the only 5 trace I have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there, going through these troops. Now, last time I did an attrition check, which again, it's not clear. It doesn't say just place, it doesn't say anything, but it says may move one of these armies. I think Conrad and his army just disappear, but maybe they try to fight their way through. We'll do that. Or not Conrad. I was going to send Guy up there But I can't afford to lose Guy, but I can afford to lose Conrad. So we've got a +3. So we've got nothing there. We've got a +3 due to weather. 4, 5, 6, 7. That means we're safe, but now we hit here. And here we're looking at 4 to 32. Now, for them to stop him, I think it has to be a field battle. I'm just making new rules up here because the game doesn't handle anything, and I don't want Conrad to just disappear necessarily. So let's say that 32, because if I can stop and continue, I could walk around this way or whatever. Let's say that 32 is necessary. I mean, technically, I could walk up this way. Let's do it that way. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's not force the battle, which will just kill him. 18, I'm going to lose 4 strength points. Conrad's army is gone. He's basically useless. I don't know what he can do anymore. So we'll just remove him. Fuck him. That's essentially the effect that I wanted to escape, but now I gotta find where he goes. He goes over here. And when we pull his chit, he'll be gone. Yay. Thing of some value, I did the siege attrition, both lost like 3. These guys actually lost theirs. The Crusaders do not, although I'm getting close to that 25. I've only got 29 now, because Conrad's gone. But I can actually pay 1 off from Caesarea. Can't quite make it to Tyre. I'd also say this kind of interferes. I don't know. No, this isn't the city. That's why it's okay. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Means I've got my limited supply route. And then this just regrows, so no biggie there. And that will put us into the next year. And we'll load this 1190 up. I mean, whatever this is worth, this is a silly scenario in a lot of ways. The historical might not be so silly, but what you got to figure is that Guy, Conrad, and now Henry would be trying to siege Acre with very little in terms of force, and then and quite possibly be eliminated by Saladin, or certainly be driven off the siege. They wouldn't have this opportunity to get down to Jerusalem. The only reason for that was the threat of this force, I think. It's hard to tell. I mean, but there's just so much wrong with it, like that the Crusaders actually are kind of disincentivized from taking Acre because they might not get Philip because of it, or he'll go home or whatever. Just all kind of weird shit going on there. The fact that I don't have any leaders for the Germans. I mean, there's just so many things that just feel completely ludicrous. And of course the attrition system just, makes the game silly no matter what, basically. All right, let's load this up.